I almost had a stroke twice, and it has caused me to change everything. I really didn't think I was going to ever make this video. I haven't really told very many people what's been going on, and I just thought that I should probably keep my medical situations, my health issues, to myself and my close friends and family. Over the past couple weeks, I've done some reflecting about how a huge percentage of this channel is trying to be the mentor that I never had coming up, the mentor that I wish that I would have had. And I spend a lot of time on this channel trying to help some of you avoid the mistakes that I have made. This is a big one. In June 2022, I was getting my daughter ready for school for daycare in the morning. And it wasn't a particularly stressful day. I hadn't yet worked out or had any caffeine or anything like that. And while I was getting her ready, the room just started spinning. And I got so dizzy I couldn't stand up. My wife was still working second shift as a nurse at the hospital, and she was on her way home. And I was like, I texted her, and I was like, you need to get home really quick. I can't stand up. She was only a few minutes away, and I literally crawled to the bathroom. And warning, some of this video is not very fun. It's a little graphic, some of it. And I crawled to the bathroom, and the most intense vomiting I've ever had in my entire life for quite a while, until there was just nothing left. And the whole time I still couldn't stand up. My wife was coming in checking on me, and my eyes were both doing this thing, like my eyeballs were twitching. That I can't ever remember what it's called. Nystagmus, I guess, is what it was. When you Google this, it says an involuntary rhythmic movement of the eyes that can be side to side, up and down, or circular. It can be caused by a number of conditions, including brain diseases, inner ear issues, or congenital problems. And my wife, being a nurse, as soon as she saw that, she's like, we need to go to the ER right now. So she drove me to the ER, where they found my blood pressure was in the upper 180s over 120s. And they're like, you're about to have a stroke if you haven't had one already. And so they immediately gave me a bunch of medication to get my blood pressure under control and try to prevent me from having a stroke or a heart attack. And at the same time, they began running a bunch of tests to make sure that I hadn't yet had a stroke or a heart attack. So they do a blood test, and there's something in your blood that they can test to see if you've had a heart attack. And then they did an EKG and a CT scan and a couple other things, all of which came back perfectly normal. And so as soon as my blood pressure got back down to normal levels from the medicine that they had given me, they sent me home, and they told me make an appointment with your doctor as soon as you can. Which I did, and my doctor put me on kind of a low-level blood pressure medicine. I'm not going to get into dosing, and I'm not going to get into what medications that I've been on, because I don't think that needs to be in a YouTube video. And then I just resumed life as normal for a while. I got a blood pressure cuff, and I started checking myself halfway often, and it was high all the time. But I was just kind of like, well, I'm on this medication. It's not getting crazy high. It's in the 140s and 150s. But I just went on about my life, and I changed almost nothing. Mistake number one. Almost a year later, I was in a session here in this room with Clayton Shea, my client, who you guys have seen on the channel before. And while I was having a particularly stressful day, and I had a bunch of caffeine, and I began hallucinating in the middle of that session. There was a weird ring kind of floating around, and it was like a kind of transparent ring that looked like it was like the ring wasn't rotating, but it was like rolling. It's hard to describe. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, uh-oh. And I went and got my blood pressure machine, and my blood pressure was well over 200 over 160. And again, my wife was on her way home from work, and I was just like, you need to get home right now. I need to go to the ER. I'm about to have a stroke. And so she got home, and truth be told, I started having like a mild panic attack because of the situation, which was not helping. went to the ER, where they again gave me medication to lower my blood pressure. They again did an EKG and a blood test to make sure that I hadn't had a heart attack or a stroke. And again, they were like, it's a good thing you came in here because you were probably minutes away from having a stroke. Not designed as humans to have blood pressure in the 200s, over 150s, 160s. That's really, really bad. And so once they got my blood pressure under control, they sent me back home. So make an appointment with your doctor, which I did. Then my doctor raised my blood pressure medication, raised the dose, and gave me a second prescription, which is what they were giving me at the ER when I came in. So that way I wouldn't have to continue going to the ER when these blood pressure spikes would happen. And for about the next year, once every 3 months, I had to take this additional medication because I could now feel it. I had become sensitive to what my body would feel like, and my vision and my sense of balance. I could feel when my blood pressure was spiking. And I was loosely paying attention to diet, and like I started restricting caffeine, and I started trying to manage my stress levels, but still every 2 or 3 months, my blood pressure would spike to the point where I would have had to go to the ER, or I would have had a stroke if I did nothing, and I would have to take this additional medication, and it would just put me on my ass. And luckily it works. It worked every time. But, we're talking 4 or 5 times I had to do that. And so then finally I went back to my doctor, and I was like, this isn't okay. Like, I'm in pretty good physical shape. My diet could be better, but it's not awful. And I don't work out, but we go hiking once in a while, and like, I'm not the most sedentary person in the world. This doesn't feel like I should be having these issues. And I just started getting this overwhelming sense that I needed to get this under control. Otherwise, I wasn't going to be around much longer. And so my doctor doubled my blood pressure prescription dose and added a second medicine, a second daily medicine in. And it made almost no difference. And so after 2 weeks, they doubled it again, which became the max dose. I'm currently on the maximum dose of blood pressure medicine that someone can be on. And we've tried a couple different medications to just make sure that it's not something that I'm just not responding to. And as soon as he maxed me out on my blood pressure medicine, I was like, I have to make some really drastic changes here. So let's talk about everything that I've changed while I'm on my way to one of the biggest changes. First thing that I did, which any of you that have been following the channel for the longest time, you know how difficult this was for me. I cut out all caffeine. No more caffeine. There was a time when I used to drink an energy drink back to back with a double shot of espresso, and that's not the case anymore. What I'm doing is I'm experimenting with a whole bunch of different things, and I'm constantly tweaking it to figure out what exactly is going on and what is causing the most of these issues. Unfortunately, caffeine seems like it was a big one. So no more caffeine. I have cut out all alcohol. Alcohol was never, I shouldn't say never. In recent years, alcohol has not been a big part of my life. I have a couple drinks a week kind of thing. But as serious as things got, I was just like, let's do everything. Let's start with everything and see where we can get to, and see if it is even possible to get off of these meds. Because unfortunately, some of this is genetic. My grandfather was on blood pressure medicine for years, for my entire life when he was alive. And so some of this is hereditary, and my doctor has been very careful to make sure that I'm not beating myself up too much and be like, it is possible that this is just hereditary, genetic. But no caffeine, no alcohol. The next thing that I drastically changed was my diet. I have went at this point, and I'm still tweaking the diet, but at this point I am pretty much straight paleo with a little bit of grains, like some overnight oats in the morning, and sometimes some rice in the afternoon or evening. Otherwise, whole food only. Paleo means whole food only. So only whole meats, whole fruits, whole vegetables, nothing processed whatsoever. Nothing processed gets wild because you're talking like no lunch meat. You're talking, no, so much of the stuff, no breads, obviously. Anything that had any sort of processing whatsoever, I'm not eating it at the moment. And the next thing that I have changed drastically is going to the gym religiously every other day. So I do, like right now, it is Monday. I'll do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, and then the next week I'll do, then it flip-flops. So just literally every other day I go to the gym first thing in the morning, fasted, no matter what. I have went through periods of my life where I was extremely active. Like in my teenage years, I was an avid motocross rider and mountain biker. That's what I did nonstop. It's what I thought I was going to do for a living, was ride motocross. I trained very, very hard. I used to run 4 or 5 miles a day in certain periods of my teenage years, and that was a big deal to me. And I was in extremely good shape back then. Throughout my entire adult life, I've always went through these spurts of going to the gym, and like I would work out really hard for 3 or 4 months, and then I would kind of slack off and stop, and then 2 years later, I'd be like, 3 years later, I'd be like, I need to get in shape, and so I'd hit the gym again. I've done this my entire adult life. For those of you that have been following the channel for a long time, you've seen I've done a couple videos. I used to be a line clearance tree trimmer, where that was an extremely physically demanding job, and I did that for 4 years while I was paying off my construction loans on the studio in Illinois, the studio that I built right downtown. So it's odd to me that I've been extremely active most of my life, and my diet wasn't really that bad. I mean, certainly I could have cleaned it up. I did drink a lot of caffeine, but I think all of this put together, what's happening right now is, now that I have put all of this together, my blood pressure's dropping, and it's commonly in the teens over 70s, 110s over 70s. And that's really good, because that means that I might be able to start lowering my medication. And hopefully, if I just keep this up for 6 months, a year, who knows how long, maybe I'll be able to get back off of it. Let's get in an angle where we can actually film a little bit more. Now, could I have avoided this whole thing? Who knows? We'll see how much of this is hereditary as I take this ultra seriously and work out religiously and eat super clean, and no caffeine and no alcohol. We'll see if I can get to a place where I can get completely back off of this stuff. But could I have prevented it from getting this far? I think so. I spent most of my 20s, and really 2/3 or almost all of my 30s, eating terribly. I paid zero attention to my diet. Especially in my early 20s, it was Long John Silver's and 6 20-ounce bottles of Mountain Dew a day. My diet was incredibly terrible throughout all of my 20s. An insane amount of alcohol consumed. Get done playing a gig and go to Steak and Shake and get a triple cheeseburger with a large fry and a large chocolate shake and pound that right before going to bed. Often, like multiple nights a week. So what I would like to pass on to you guys, because again, that's what so much of this channel is about, trying to help you guys avoid the mistakes that I made. I'm real new at this, like being super clean and everything. So I'm not trying to immediately go down this like silly fitness health influencer rabbit hole. That's not what I'm trying to do here. What I'm trying to do is just analyze the things that I really probably should have done differently. But I didn't have anyone to tell me otherwise. There was no one to tell me, hey, you should probably not drink 6 bottles of Mountain Dew every single day. There's no one around to tell me that. And so what I hope this video accomplishes is that someone, even one person, if there's one person out there that I can influence to just be a little healthier, just drink a little bit less soda, just eat a little bit healthier, eat a little bit less fried foods, eat a little bit less sugar. If I can influence one person to do that and hopefully help you avoid being 41 years old, maxed out on blood pressure meds, almost having a stroke multiple times, I would like to help someone not go through the stuff that I'm going through here. The other thing that I do regularly is I donate blood because, and I don't remember the exact percentages. By the way, none of this is life advice. None of this is health advice. None of this is medical advice. But if you donate blood regularly, which I think it's every 3 months you can donate blood, it lowers your all-cause mortality and your risk of heart attack and stroke by like 40%. And so I donate blood regularly now. And you know what? A side effect of that I didn't expect is I get these emails from Red Cross telling me when my blood donations have went to help save someone's life. And that's unreal feeling. That is an amazing feeling. The next thing that I will likely do very soon is I will probably get a sauna very soon because regular sauna use has been proven to lower your all-cause mortality and your risk of heart attack I don't know if it's another 40%, I don't know if it compounds, but by 40%. And so I will likely either get a membership somewhere that has a sauna or I will get a small sauna for myself and make those changes because I want to throw everything at the wall here and see how good of shape can I get in and how much lower can I lower my risk of having a stroke or a heart attack. Yeah. Now the last, I'm at the gym right now, by the way. That's where we are. I guess I didn't say that. The last and final thing that I have had to modify in my life is how I manage stress. Because I am a guy who's wound pretty tight. Part of that comes from I really, really care about the music that I work on. I probably care too much. I care an infinite amount about the songs that I work on and the clients that hire me and their success. And that I care, I like obsess over it to the point where it stresses me out. And I've had to chill that out a little bit. The other thing is, as much as I hate to say it, YouTube. The comments here on YouTube, so many of you are so incredibly supportive, and I appreciate it so much. But I've had to chill out on reading the comments. Because when you have 400 comments on a video and 70 of them are negative and horrible, it's hard to process. For me, it is. For me, it's genuinely difficult to process, and it adds an enormous amount of stress and anxiety to my life, reading people's opinions about myself that are negative in such quantity. I don't think we as humans we're not hardwired to deal with that quantity of negativity, and putting yourself out there on a social media platform is like, it's a lot. And so what you guys have probably noticed is I'm less interactive in the comments. I will commonly just reply to comments for the first 30 or 40 minutes after a video goes live, and then that's it. And I hate that I'm doing that, but I'm doing it for my own health. Because it's not just a mental health thing at this point, I need to preserve my life for my own sake and for the sake of my family. The other thing is just not getting so stressed out. I think his name's Alex Honnold, the crazy free climber that did like El Capitan's free solo, that guy. I saw an interview with him where he was talking about people getting stressed out over like travel in the airport and stuff, and they're just losing their minds over they might miss the flight. And he's like, I think people need to experience real danger sometimes because this is not that big of a deal. You're in a comfy airport surrounded by food and water with bathrooms. You're gonna be fine. And I'm not trying to get into rock climbing. However, that really resonated with me because I will say when I was a line clearance tree trimmer and my life was genuinely in danger almost every single day, I just didn't stress a lot of other little stuff. The other little stuff was so meaningless because it's like, it's just not a big deal in comparison to what I experienced every day. Well, nowadays I sit in front of a computer and I play guitar and I mix music for a living. There's not a lot of danger in that. There's not a lot of risk in that. And so I needed to be reminded of the fact that the little stuff is okay. You know, the YouTube comments, even though they're not fun, they're okay. The fact that we might be late to an appointment, it's gonna be okay. The fact that maybe I have maybe I put more on my plate for a particular day than I wanted to. If I don't get it all done, life is gonna go on. It will be okay. And those are the things that historically have gave me immense anxiety. And I'm just trying to be better about processing those things. It's all going to work out. I really hope that this helped someone, even just one person. I hope this helped someone make better decisions with your lifestyle choices, because unfortunately it can catch up to you. Because here I am at 41 years old, having to change everything about my life because I'm maxed out on blood pressure meds, doing everything I can to not have a stroke or a heart attack. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.